welcome back to my channel. This is Erica's Diary. If you are new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is where I talk to you about what I've been learning, what I've been going through, what I've gone through, my healing journey, things like that, in hopes that it resonates with you too. So today, you guys, I just want to be completely honest, okay, about what I've been learning as far as really making the effort to do things God's way when it comes to a relationship. I mean, obviously doing God's way in anything, but specifically this video is for when it comes to a relationship. So I've always said that in my next relationship, I want somebody, or I want to do things with someone different than I've done before, because I want something different. So if you continue to do the same things and get the same results, you got to change it up and do something different. So with me personally, in my past relationships, when I look back, I've always done the same thing, and it's just never been a good result. At the end, it's always ended in heartbreak or something traumatic, or just damaging things to the soul, to your emotional well-being. So I wanted to just share something with you guys, because one of the things that I did in 2021 was really study and learn about how to navigate being single, but doing it the way that God wants you to do it, and then also dating the way God wants you to do it, or a marriage the way God wants you to do it, like a kingdom marriage, and like what you should do to prepare for that. So, because for me, I don't have time to just be, like I've said before, having homeboys, or this guy I've been dating for 17 years. Like, I want the real thing, but I also want it to be what God has sent me. Because let me tell you, the devil has sent me some people too, okay? So I really believe that writing down and praying over it is a great thing. However, you also have to keep in mind that what does God want from me? So one of the things I've been learning when it comes to a relationship is that when God puts you and someone together, it's not just for your happiness, it's for his glory and for his holiness as well. So in our society today, it's that don't even really exist. I don't really see it. So if I'm not particularly going and watching videos or teachings about kingdom marriage and relationships, then I'm not seeing that on social media. Social media got so many memes about what to do in a relationship. People be getting their relationship advice off of memes, and that ain't how it go. I mean, some of the memes be funny, but it's not good relationship advice. So one of the things for me in this season, I'm realizing that I've always heard don't despise your single season, and I'm not. I really am not. I realize that this is the time to do the things that I want to do, which I have been doing, especially pre-pandemic. I was out here, but now it's okay, if I want to, all of these goals that I have for myself, this is the time to do that. So besides that, what I've been learning is that 2 years ago, I had wrote down in my journal about what type of person I wanted. And I specifically wrote down the word anointed. And right after that, I met someone who literally had anointed tatted on his forearm. Okay. And that was a whole counterfeit. That was something that I feel like was a trap. And I got trapped like a mouse to a cheese and in the mouse trap. I was on that cheese. Okay. So it's a real thing. I've always heard that the counterfeit comes before the real thing. And the hardest relationship is the one after, the healthy one after all of the other unhealthy ones. And I think that is so true. And so the fact that I have met someone new, like I've told you guys, and he literally is a man of God, that I have never encountered someone that could potentially be the person for me in this way. Like, I've never experienced, like, I've always dated people that, you know, like, yeah, I believe in God, like, what's up to the Most High, like that, but not someone that has been super involved in the ministry, that is like, they love to serve, they love to give, they pray with me, cover me, pray over me. Like, I never have experienced that before. And then the fact that I've realized that he is actually anointed, not just got it tatted on his forearm. So it was very weird for me, because in those 2 years that I was like writing down everything that I wanted, not even realizing that I wasn't ready to receive someone like that. But the fact that like I said in the beginning, that I've always said that I want to do something different. So let me tell you how different I'm doing it. So, for example, the main mistake that I made in my past relationship is not doing it God's way. And let me tell you something. Doing it God's way is harder. It's harder. It don't make sense. But it's always the better way, the best way in the end. And, you know, I was talking to God about that the other day. I'm like, this is so hard. Like, because we just want our way. We do live in this society of a microwave. Okay, this is what I want, so let me go ahead and put it in the microwave. Okay, 30 seconds, boom, it's ready, let's go. Like, that's just how our society is today, but that is not how our relationship with God is. So I realized that doing it his way is harder, but it's better. And one of the mistakes that I've made in past relationships is, number one, is giving everything before I even know if this is somebody that I'm supposed to be with. Not setting up the proper boundaries in terms of sex, in terms of, you know, just how often you're available to that person, how much you give to that person, just never having those boundaries in place. Because if you think about it, anybody in your past that was not for you, that wasn't your husband. So it's like, what were you doing with that person? It's almost like you was with someone that you had no business being with. But I do believe that when you do get with people that are not for you, there's definitely learning lessons to help you grow. So I'm not saying like, oh, it was just a waste of time and a whole mistake, but some of them, I mean, but there is a reason. So I'm learning that with me trying to approach this new person, the fact that I pray for someone that has a relationship with God, can hear from God, can pray with me, and these things are coming to pass, or I'm seeing these things, are total green flags for me, obviously. However, it's harder because we get in our feelings, we get in our flesh, we get in our, like, you know, well, let's Netflix and chill and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, we do that without asking God, is this the person for me? Or without getting an answer, or without getting a confirmation on what you're supposed to be doing with this person. So, with this my new friend, I'll say, my new friend, he is very involved in my uncle's ministry. So they had a panel discussion at church one night about marriage. And he told me about it because he's one of the guys that films it or whatever. So he told me, hey, we're filming this, but I'm going to send it to you because I really think it'd be good for both of us to talk about it. So it was some really good information because it was basically a panel discussion, and it talked about what you should be doing to set yourself up in your singleness, to set yourself up for marriage, and when you are the differences between courting someone and dating someone. And, you know, obviously going to God and asking for a clear answer on if you're supposed to be courting or dating this or pursuing this person. And then the main thing was, the main things you should know before you actually start dating this person is, who are they to you? Who are you to them? And who are y'all together? Like, what is your purpose together? So those 3 points really stuck out to me and my new friend. So in discussing that, we had like a 2-hour discussion about the whole thing, and it was really good because we were on the same page. And it was just like, talking to a mature man is weird for me. Like, I feel like I'm the immature one now, because I feel like I was always the mature one. So needless to say, approaching this in the way that God wants us to do is the harder way, because we decided that until we have a clear answer from God as far as like those 3 answers, who am I to him, who is he to me, and who are we supposed to be together, until we have those answers, we're not going to move forward with like him pursuing me or us dating or us being in a relationship. And I think that is something, like I said, is so different than what I've had before. And we even discussed, like, we both have to be mature about this. Like, yeah, it's gonna be kind of like frustrating if we don't just, like I said, pop it in the microwave, get an answer, boom, okay, let's time to eat. No, this is something that I feel like is how God would want this to happen, is go to him first. Like, he has to spend time and go to him first. I have to spend time and go to him first. And another way that you know if this is like a relationship that God approves of is if it brings you closer to him. And I don't mean he made you cry, so now you're going to go pray about it. No, I mean you're going to God in any circumstance, anytime. You're going to him more than you ever have. You're actually being intentional about spending time with him and hearing him and getting his direction. So I think that is another green light with my new friend. And so, but it's so much harder, guys. That's like my whole point of this video, is that it's much harder when you decide to do things God's way. Because I'm like, man, I've been waiting years to meet someone new that's actually worth meeting. And I feel like I have, but then it's almost like God is putting a pause on it, because he's not telling me yes, but he's not telling me no. He's not telling him yes, but he's not telling him no. But this could be a lesson for the both of us to make sure that we're including God in it first. And one of the questions that me and my new friend asked each other was, do you have anybody that's around your age group that is in a like kingdom marriage, like they follow those principles and they really try to do things God's way? And he said no. And I said no as well, because I haven't seen it, he hasn't seen it. So it's like, it's hard to try to navigate something or know how to do something that you ain't seen, nobody else do. You don't really have that model. And I think that is what's missing in our generation, our society, is people really trying to like be together because there's something that God wants them to do together, not just be together because they looking cute on the gram. So regardless of what the answer ends up being for him and me, obviously would be the same answer. But I feel like this is something that has really made me grow, like spiritually, and then making me really be conscious of, okay, do you really want to do this God's way, or you just want to hurry up so you can show everybody yo man? Like, no. Taking that time, and then you know, like I said, I've written down before I even knew he existed, was saying that I wanted someone who could hear from God. He has shown me in so many ways how he has heard from him. And when I asked him the question about, have you been around other couples, and I was like thinking in my head, well, what if that is one of the purposes? Because the way that we discussed that panel I was like, we could have been on that panel as singles, because one thing that I've always said is sometimes, like, why am I always the single friend? Why am I always showing up to everything by myself? I'm tired of it. Like, I don't want to be the third wheel or the fifth wheel. I don't want to be the tricycle, okay? I don't. But it's so crazy to me that he has expressed that he sometimes gets frustrated when he shows up to things by himself. And I had never told him about how I felt about myself showing up to everything by myself. So it's like we both have that thing where it's like, man, we really want a relationship, but it's like we ain't willing to just settle for anything either. But it's just like the frustration. So I was like, well, what if that was one of our purposes, is if we were to get together, to be the example, or to be an example for a generation that it's like kind of lacking. But it's hard to do it the way that God wants us to do it, because like I've said before, we always want to follow our heart, but we really shouldn't be doing that. We should be guarding our heart, and we should be trying to wait and see what God says, and get our own opinions and our own flesh and our own desires and wants out of the way, so that we can really, like, when you say, okay, whatever you want, God, do you really mean that? You know, because sometimes we have our own idea, because even sometimes I'll be like, okay, God, I trust you. And then I'll be like, okay, well, if I don't hear an answer in like the next 2 weeks, I'm going to just do this. And it's like, why are you telling God when you about to make a decision? So it's like really being conscious and really trying to do things in a different way. And I feel like especially as a woman who has given so much before to the wrong people, it depletes you. And you have to rebuild yourself back up, and you have to start all over again. And don't nobody want to start over. It's really hard to start over. I mean, it's worth it in a lot of circumstances, but don't nobody want to start over. But also, when you're tired, you're done. So, and if you ain't done, you ain't tired. So, I think that as a woman, doing things in terms of a relationship how God wants you to do it, it really does protect your heart, because you're not giving your body away, you're not giving yourself away, you're not giving your heart away, you're not getting all in your feelings, you're not ending up in a situationship because you have taken it to God first and he told you an answer before you got all up into a relationship where now your emotions are tied into it. So at the end of the day, God's way is harder, but it's the best way. And that's what I'm learning now, especially in a relationship. So I'm hoping that because I'm trying to do things different, that I will get a different result. And we will see how this goes. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to like this video. Please leave your comments. Please share this video if you want to. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.